Hello everyone, it's your friend, your boy, Jetblack the one and only here with another exciting live stream. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about my day-to-day, July 1st, 2019. It's currently 8:01 p.m. If you're just now joining the stream, make sure that you pop into the live chat. Tell me how you're doing today, if you have any questions for your boy, and if you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream. Let's get started. So, today I hung out with your boy Dozer at Bridge Street. I got Pyology Pizza. My time at Pyology was a little weird. I got my usual, but the issue was, yo, Godzilla, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? Do you have any discussion topics I can talk about the stream? On the stream. When I got to Pyology, I was like, I'm glad that I'm here because it doesn't seem like they're too busy. So I feel like I'll be able to get my pizza relatively quickly and enjoy it. So I go into Pyology, which in case you guys don't know what Pyology is, it's kind of like a Subway, except they make like a personal pizza for you and they like cook it in the oven. Godzilla said, I think I know what I want. Kind of like Subway, except they make like a personal pizza for you and then they cook it for you there. So I went to Biology, and like I said, there weren't a lot of people, but I noticed that even though there weren't a lot of customers, they seemed a little short-staffed. So I normally get my pizza loaded up with like bacon. I end up getting like a lot of like meat on my pizza, but the person who was doing the meat looked kind of rushed, and because there were just so few people working. So normally I ask them like, can you put as much bacon on it as you're allowed to, and they just put like a ton of bacon on it. And she took some bacon and she put like a very sparse amount, and I was like, could I have like some more? And then she grabbed like another sparse amount and just put it on, and then there are like two people next to me who are working on a pizza together, and she's looking at them and looking at me, and I'm like, so then I just was like, that'll be fine, and she put it in the oven, and then once I got my pizza, I'm so used to having so much more meat on it, it just felt like I had barely anything on the pizza. Like it had all the toppings I wanted, but there were just so few of each because I think she felt rushed and she just was kind of like, and I was like, I just don't like this as much. I just feel like in the future, probably just put my foot down and just be like, just as much as you can, just like go hard. Um, because I guess the way that I was thinking before is I want to make it easier on her so that she can get to the next person. But at the same time, I feel like it should be, I should still get what I want because the whole point is to ask for what you want. I just know I can get more meat than that. Godzilla said that he wants his story to be about the life of a giant monster when it's born to when it dies. So its whole life. So will it start as like a baby and then progress up until its eventual death? And will it die like in an epic battle, or will it just kind of die of old age? Yo, Ryan, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? And do you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream? I said, yep. Because I feel like baby giant monster stories, there probably are some, but I just don't think I've ever really heard about stories about a giant monster as like a baby. And then Godzilla said it will die fighting. Well, I guess it dying fighting sounds cool. Excuse me. At the same time, I'm like, will it win the fight? It's possible that it could die fighting, but still succeed at whatever it was doing. Like a sacrificial death, kind of like, or will it die and just lose? And is the monster gonna be like a good guy character who's fighting against like malevolent forces, or is the monster gonna be a bad guy and then just lose to the good guys? And then Godzilla said, "Well, I ODN." I don't really know what ODN means. What does that mean? And then Ryan said, "Duel me," and he said, "Well, I don't want to spoil it." Oh, well, that's understandable. I get that. I'm down to wait and see what you have in store for your story. Mm. What do you guys want me to do during the last 30 minutes of the stream? It seems like your boy Ryan wants to do Yu-Gi-Oh! But what does everyone else want to do? Also, don't forget to smash that like button. What am I thinking about? So today, I hung out with Dozer and I texted with Beth throughout the day. Me and Dozer hung out at Barnes& and Nobles. We listened to some music in the car and just kind of talked. We talked about comic books a lot, which makes sense. We're both into comics. And that's pretty much the main thing I did today. We went to Red Robin for a little bit, and Dozer had the salmon. It looked really fancy. I was actually very surprised that Red Robin had anything like that. I had like a bottomless strawberry lemonade. It's like a freckled lemonade. And then I also had like a monster shake. It was like a chocolate raspberry shake. But then after that, I was like, I think I've had too many liquids. Just feel bloated. Just too much going on. And then Godzilla said I misclicked and mistyped. Oh, no problem. It happens to everyone. Um, Later on, I ended up getting a icy. It was like a blue raspberry icy mixed with like cherry. When Dozer went to like get cookies at America's Greatest Cookies, and we hung out at the Monaco for a little bit, but we didn't actually see a movie. So we mainly just hung around Bridge Street and just talked, and it was a pretty solid time for sure. And then Godzilla said, "I don't want to spoil how it dies." I totally understand that. Feel free to not spoil it, and don't worry, I'll be able to check out your story in the future if you decide to share it. If you do decide to share it, I probably would read it in like little chunks rather than reading it all at once and then give you my thoughts on like each chunk. Matt said, ODN, my favorite monster. Yo, Matt, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? And do you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream? Godzilla said, I have not made the story yet. Understandable. Then Matt said, no, no, and no. I hope that you have a wonderful time making the story, and if you have any questions or you just want to discuss or talk about writing or stories, feel free to hit up your boy. Matt said, all spoilers, give them all to me. Godzilla said, I just have like what I want it to be. Understandable. You have like an idea for it, but you haven't like written it out. Um, Dozer read my most recent superhero short story that I wrote, Sandwich versus Dr. Spit, and he liked it. The only thing that he felt was weird is he wasn't a big fan of Sandwich's power. Sandwich has the ability to magically summon sandwiches at will, and then the sandwiches that any kind of sandwich, by the way, there's no limit to the type of sandwich that sandwich can like manifest mystically. But the catch is each sandwich that sandwich makes has a 50-50 chance of either giving you a random superpower or certain death if you eat it. Um, and he was like, he wasn't a big fan of what Sandwich's ability was. He did like Dr. Spit's power though. He was a fan of that. The version that Dozer read is a more complete version of the story that I wrote the other day while hanging out with Aiden. When I was with Aiden, I hadn't finished the story yet, and I like read it to Aiden, and he gave me like some of his comments and how he felt about it. But since then, I feel like it's a much like tighter, better story than what I had before. And I am curious to see how Aiden feels about it once he sees the finished version of it. Let's see. Matt said, I got spoiled about Endgame, and it didn't really change my perception of the movie. He said it was only an average slash good Marvel movie. I liked Endgame, but I didn't think it was like the greatest thing in the world. I still think Civil War is probably my favorite Marvel movie. I am a big fan of how they did Civil War. And then Ryan said Michelle has a spoiler, and then she put in quotes, Spider-Man dies. I just feel like that's an incorrect spoiler for Endgame, because Spider-Man does not die in Endgame. Almost said he does not die in Endgame. Let's see. Matt said, Jet, your stories are always incomplete because you put no content into it. You should read my latest thing, Sandwich versus Dr. Spit. I'd be interested in seeing your opinion on it. Then Godzilla said, I think I'm going to write the story right now. Okay, ballin'. I hope you enjoy it. I'm definitely a fan of writing. If you want to talk about writing at all, feel free to hit up your boy. Let's see. And then Matt said, Spider-Man died, not in Endgame. And then Ryan said, it wasn't about Endgame. Oh, okay. Infinity War? Because Matt was talking about Endgame earlier. Then Matt said, where is my review copy? When you arrive, Matt, you can be like, I want to read Sandwich versus Dr. Spit. Matt said, that wasn't a question, that was a statement. Mm. I am aware, Matt. Bow, 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 bow. Let's see. So yeah, I hung out with Dozer, talked about comics, and texted with Beth. And that's pretty much all I did today. That and eat at Pyology and get a shake and like a bottomless lemonade at Red Robin and got like icy at America's favorite cookies. Probably should have went to Maggie Moo's at some point instead of getting a shake at like Red Robin. I think that would have been better. Matt said, I'm not going to remember a specific story. You can just ask to read whatever I'm currently working on, or just any story. Matt said, if you really want opinions, send me the story. And then he corrected it to just send me the story. Matt, Matt, I can send you, excuse me,
Okay, I paused it. I'm gonna.
I can send you one of my short stories that I published recently. I just, which one would you want me to send you out of like my newer short stories? Ryan said Hans is a villain, and then Matt said, "Is this not a published story?" So, the Sandwich versus Doctor Spit story is a part of like a new short story collection that I'm writing called Superpower Battles Volume Two. Superpower Battles Volume One is actually already out and available on Amazon in paperback and ebook format. Um, but I would rather send you one of the short stories from Volume One rather than sending you all of the short stories from Volume One because I'd like to hear your opinion on one story at a time, if that makes sense. So, I would like to list off a few different stories from Volume 1, um, like just saying like the names of each story and telling you maybe the inspiration for each story, and then based on that, see which ones you'd want me to send you. Again, I want to send you one at a time, so you pick one out of the list of short stories. And like I said, this is a short story collection. They're all very short. They're written in a script style, and the script style is very similar to what you'd see for like a Silver Age superhero comic. Like it's like a campy thing with like villains who monologue and stuff like that. Or something similar to what you'd see for like an old superhero radio show script. Script style short stories. So I'm gonna just name off a few titles, tell you inspired by, or if they're not inspired by anything, and then just see which ones you're interested in. So I think Ryan is just saying random movie spoilers now without context. Matt said, or you could just give them all to me and I review them individually as I desire. And then Matt said, super campy stuff will probably get hard flack. Well, it's the style I'm going for. So I can understand if you're like, it's not something that you'd be a fan of. I get that. That just totally makes sense. Like if you're like, I don't like super campy superhero stuff, uh, in general, I understand that. But I guess I would want to know if you feel like I actually am executing it well for that kind of thing. Like going into it and knowing that it's supposed to be like a campy Silver Age superhero comic where the idea is like a hero and a villain are fighting and the hero has to overcome the odds by cleverly using their powers. Like if you know that's what I'm going for, I guess my question would be could you review it in such a way where you see am I really executing it well? Let's see. And then Shuri Chan said, hi. Yo, Shuri Chan, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? And do you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream? Matt then said, Jet, bad camp isn't desirable. And he said the stories need good camp to be good. Okay, so that would be what I would want to hear. I'd want to know whether or not you felt like the stories were bad camp or good camp. Speaking of which, what do you define personally as good camp versus bad camp? When talking about like campy stories, Shuri Chan said, I'm sad. I lost my friends over a game. How so? I feel like it's very unlikely that you like lost your friends. You may have had like a disagreement, but I don't think they're like gone forever. But I'd be down to like talk with you about it and like see if like understand the situation better if you want to share. Matt said good camp is the same as good referential humor or good nostalgia. That's interesting. That sounds well, I guess it's subjective anyways. I was about to say that sounds subjective, but I asked you a question that was subjective anyways, so that's understandable. Mm. Shuri Chen then said, okay, so here are the different short stories from Superpower Battles Volume 1. Here are the titles and what their characters are kind of inspired by. So you have Crystal Crusader versus Magma Maniac. It's probably one of the campiest of the superhero short stories I've written, if I'm being honest. And it's also the first one in the Superpower Battles Volume 1 collection. It has characters inspired by Diamond Head and Heat Blast from Ben 10. Then you have Electra Kid versus Aster Mortem. That particular short story I feel like is a little more serious, and I feel like all of them have like a pretty interesting twist. I would say that that one is pretty okay. Not like the best out of the short stories I've written, but not bad. And it has characters inspired by Hunter x Hunter and by Dragon Ball Super. Um, the Norm versus Elasteel. That is that one I feel like is kind of okay. I feel like it's probably not the best of the short stories, but I think it's because one of the characters is like a non-powered character, so the dynamic of that is very different from the other stories. And the setting is very different as well. It's definitely a different story compared to the other ones, but it has characters inspired by One Piece and Black Clover. Then we got Ultra Ghost versus Dynamo Dragon. That has characters inspired by Danny Phantom and American Dragon Jake Long. That one I think you'll probably like. It's not a hero versus villain story. It's a hero versus villain. I'm sorry, it's not a hero versus villain story. It's a hero versus hero story, but it's a story in which, um, they don't just fight for a little bit and then decide to team up in the end. It's like one of them actually dies. It's a death battle thing, and the heroes have a legitimate reason why they're fighting, and they fight to the death. I feel like you'll probably like Ultra Ghost versus Dynamo Dragon, considering I feel like you know about Danny Phantom and you know about American Dragon Jake Long, and it kind of breaks some of the tropes of normal hero battles because a lot of times they normally resolve their differences. And then there's Mush Racer versus Violaser. This particular story is the last Superpower Battles Volume 1, and it's Eric's favorite. Eric being the guy from Writer's Block that you know. He's actually read through this collection, and Eric actually really appreciates the old school campy vibe that I'm doing with this collection. He likes it. But Mush Racer versus Violaser is his favorite. It's the one where the characters actually aren't based off of anything. I made up pretty much everything about him. The only thing Eric didn't really like about Mush Racer versus Violaser, he was like, the setting is insane. He's like, all the other settings are like relatively like normal, and even if they're not normal, they're not like too crazy. He's like, this setting was like actually ridiculous. But he was like, other than that, like good story. Let's see. Real quick, let me jump back in the live chat. Let's see. Matt said, as opposed to bad camp, which is the same as bad referential humor or bad nostalgia. Ryan's still doing random movie spoilers. Matt said, so super campy early story is the worst one. Got it. Kevin said, hey Jen chat. Yo Kevin, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? And do you have any discussion topics you like to talk about on the stream? Ryan's still doing random movie spoilers. Tangent said, is it gay that made a Lego Asian dragon for some reason? I don't see how that's gay. And then Matt said, when original ideas just don't exist. Ryan put up another random movie spoilers. And then Tangent follows through with just more stuff. Then Tangent said, well, adios. And he said, talk to you later. Whoop, catch you later, Tangent. Good to have you on the stream. Hope you have a wonderful night tonight. Matt said, wow, an original idea for the last story. Just because the characters, when I say that the characters are inspired by Matt, what I'm saying is their power sets are inspired by characters from those properties. They're not like, I took this character straight out of their thing. It's more like there's a character in the story who has powers similar to a character in another story. But it's just a powers thing. It's not like I cut out a character and I just put them in my thing and gave them a different name. They're like different people. Let's see. Ryan said Michelle demands you the spoilers. Why isn't Michelle typing these spoilers? Good to see you, Michelle. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? Do you have any discussion topics you like to talk about on the stream? Kevin said, if they were a slime girl or boy or both anime, I would watch it. Don't mind me, Jet. I find slime people or creatures, depending on who you ask, to be very interesting. I wonder if there is unknown science behind it. Behind slime creatures, you might want to look into slime molds. Slime molds are essentially really massive single-celled organisms. They're kind of cool. Let's see. Matt said, I'm reading them all and know all about them. And he said, why couldn't you just make unique powers? So I wanted to like see my interpretation of how certain characters would do in a fight against each other, not based off of who those characters are, but solely their like powers and abilities. One thing that I did throughout for the ones that are inspired by certain things is I would be like, okay, so I like this character's power and I like this character's power, and one of the power sets is going to go to like a hero, one of them's going to go to a villain, and then from that I'm like, okay, so what would their name be? Their name would probably be related to their powers for like their superhero or supervillain identity. Okay, so where are they going to fight? What do I think would be like a cool set piece for them to fight in? Like, where would I imagine a fight between characters with these abilities? Okay, now based on the setting and based off of the different characters, what are going to be their motivations? Are the motivations going to be tied into like the backstory, or are they going to be tied into the situation itself for why they're fighting? You know, stuff like that. And I kind of would take the powers and from the powers try and build into everything else about the story. That's kind of how I like marked it up. But what would end up happening is I would just be thinking about different characters and different power sets and cool matchups and like battles, and then I'm like, well, what if you like kind of strip away like everything but the powers and then start from there and then build up into the story. So that's kind of where I went with it. Matt said reincarnated as a slime question mark. That is indeed an anime. Let's see, and then Ryan said, Matt, do you know who the heir from Del Toro Quest? He didn't say is, he just put a question mark. Then Matt said no. He said probably never going to watch Del Toro Quest, so spoil away. And then Ryan keeps putting up these random spoiler quotes. Ryan said, Michelle says, don't watch Del Toro Quest. What is that? Let's see. Matt said, Jet, sounds like you should just make a side death battle esque channel. Mm. I mean, I don't understand the need for side channels. You know, if I just want to like talk about who would win in a fight, I probably just on this channel would just do a stream, and the stream would be titled like who would win discussion, and then just have two characters listed, and I'd be like, hey guys, so today we're gonna be talking about Dunana versus Dunana. Who do you guys think would win and why? Here are my thoughts on it, and I'd like to share them with you and us discuss it. Like I don't think I need like a whole channel for that. You know what I mean? Ryan's doing more movie spoilers. And then Matt said, also presuming Del Toro Quest is from Milo Murphy, question mark. And then Matt said, or series of videos. Yeah, I think it would be a series of videos thing. I don't think I'd do a whole channel for that. Then Ryan said Del Toro Quest is a book series. Oh, I didn't know anything about it. I honestly don't know what Del Toro Quest is. Then Matt said, not really a side channel. Yeah. Let's see. Ryan spoiling another thing. Then Ryan said, oh, not Ryan. Matt said, oh, so Doofenshmirtz and Del Toro Quest were separate entities. Kevin said, I've thought about drawing slime characters and making a story, but I don't know if anyone else will be interested in a slime story that isn't hentai, because there's a lot of slime hentai for some reason. Well, people seem to be interested in reincarnated as a slime, which is not hentai. It's just like an anime. Like, I'm sure if you wrote, like, an interesting story, whether it featured slime characters or not, people would like it. You know what I mean? So I say go for it. I think you'll have a fun time. Like, as long as you enjoy the story, then I feel like you'll enjoy writing the story. You know what I mean? Let's see. Then Ryan posted up another random spoiler, and Matt said, It's because they are sticky. Is that Matt? I don't know if you're referring to his hentai question or what. It's because they are sticky. Matt 2019. Also, I drank all my water already. It's only been like 20 something minutes. But yeah, Matt, which of those short stories that I mentioned would you be interested in me sending you? Going over the names again: Crystal Crusader versus Magma Maniac, Electra Kid versus Aster Mortem, Denorm versus Elastial, Ultra Ghost versus Dynamo Dragon, and Mush Racer versus Vio Laser. Ryan said Doofenshmirtz and Del Toro Quest have no connection. Lol. Well, that's good to know. Then Kevin said, "Oh right, makes sense." I guess Matt was reacting to the hentai thing. Then Matt said, enjoyment of your own story doesn't equal actual value as a literary work, but displeasure is the first step towards improvement. Um, the reason why I mentioned that if you enjoy the story, that you'll have fun writing the story is from personal experience and also just from what I've heard from other people. So when I write my own stories, if I'm like not really vibing with the story, like if I'm not really liking it, I'll probably either stop writing or I'll just wrap it up. Like I'll just be like, okay, whatever, and I'll just finish it off. I feel like if I like enjoy a story, it'll either naturally finish itself. I don't actually know an alternative. It will naturally finish itself. Like if I like a story, I'll eventually like come to an end that I'm like satisfied with that story, and I don't feel like I'm just wrapping it up to wrap it up, or feel like I'm just gonna throw it away because I'm not super into the story. So I feel like if you're enjoying the story, you'll enjoy writing the story. As a counterpoint to what Matt said, I feel like Stan Lee in a TED Talk had some pretty wise words that he said. The whole TED Talk was about writing comics and how Stan Lee writes comics and his suggestion to other writers. He says, I don't try to write things to please other people or specific audiences. Stan Lee was like, what I write is the kind of thing that I like. And he's like, I know that I can't be the only person who likes it. So as long as I enjoy what I'm writing, I know someone else will enjoy what I'm writing. But if I myself don't enjoy it, then I don't actually know if anyone else would enjoy it. You know what I mean? And I feel like that made sense. I feel like that actually seems rather logical. Let's see. Ryan put up another random spoiler. Then Matt said, did you really pronounce displeasure as displeasure? Then Kevin said, thanks, Jelt and Matt. Thank you. I now have a L in my name. Let's see. Ryan put up another random spoiler. Matt said, or enjoyment means letting your feelings get way too involved in the story means messing with the general flow of the story. Hmm. I don't know. Let's see. Ryan said, oh, another random spoiler. Matt said the last spoiler is intriguing. I'm gonna pass by Matt's comment on the spoiler. Tangent said orange. Yo, Tangent, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? And do you have any discussion topics that I talk about on the stream? I read your messages earlier, Tangent, but by the time I got to them, you had already dipped. Kevin said, oh, I put a L. Oops. Yeah, no problem. Kevin. Let's see. So right now, Matt and Ryan are discussing a Kim Possible spoiler that Ryan posted in the live chat. Also, Matt, are you a fan of Kim Possible? You actually seemed to vibe with it. You were like, whoa, whoa, what's that Kim Possible spoiler? You were like, hey. But yeah, Matt, if you want me to share one of the superhero short stories with you, which one did you want me to share? I went through each one telling you about things that inspired them, so I could get a good idea of which one. Matt said all of them. You just gotta pick one. Crystal Crusader versus Magma Maniac, Electric Kid versus Aster Mortem, Denorm versus Elasteel, Ultra Ghost versus Dynamo Dragon, which I think you'll like. Ultra Ghost versus Dynamo Dragon, I think you'll enjoy that one. Or Mush Racer versus Violaser. Let's see. Kevin said, I shockingly enjoy Aladdin the live action movie from Disney, which I watched yesterday. I've heard that the Aladdin live action movie isn't bad, but not necessarily better than the original. I heard that it like skims over certain parts. Like it just kind of like quickly goes through certain moments that it feels like you should already know from having seen the animated version, which I think is interesting. But I personally haven't seen it, though I am glad that you enjoyed it. Matt then said all of them, but in like a aesthetic vaporwave, all caps with spaces between the letters style. Matt said the only good live action Disney movie is probably Maleficent. Well, I haven't seen Maleficent. I'm trying to think of the live action Disney movies that I have seen, if any. They're not really coming to mind at the moment. And then Godzilla said, I have finished the story. So you finished the story that's about like a giant monster from its birth to death that you were writing during the stream? If you want to share it, feel free to share it on Amino, and I can like read some of your story and like tell you what I think about it. But that's only if you want to. And then Ryan said Christopher Robin is a great movie. I haven't seen Christopher Robin. I used to like Winnie the Pooh. I don't know if I would still be down for Winnie the Pooh. Godzilla said, oh, I don't have Amino. I think you can just do Amino on your computer nowadays. So that's what I do, believe it or not. Here is a link to the channel's Amino. Let's see. Godzilla said yes, and he said, "Oh, I don't have Amino. Here's a link to our Amino. I think you can just do that. I think you can jump onto that online." Matt said that one might also be good. Have seen that one though. I think he meant to say haven't seen that one though. Kevin said I won't spoil anything, but I would say it's better than Tarzan. He said Tarzan was a complete hit and miss for me. Has Disney done a live action Tarzan that was like a Disney one? Or is there just another live action Tarzan that's not Disney? I don't think I know of a Disney live action Tarzan, but I could be wrong. Matt said, although that isn't really a rehash of a movie and more its own separate thing. Christopher Robin, that's true. And then Ryan said Christopher Robin is greater than Maleficent. Also, is that really how you spell Maleficent? It's not with like an E instead of an A? What? Hold on. Maleficent. Yeah, that's definitely an E. I'm gonna put in a little asterisk. Maleficent. Let's see. Matt said Maleficent still counts because it's a retreading of the same story from a very different angle. And I guess that's also what Christopher Robin's going for in a different way. Then Ryan posts another random spoiler. Also, it looks like there's nothing new on the Amino since last time we checked. So that's good to know. Oh, by the way, tangent. I saw the dragon thing that you made in Minecraft, and I commented on it a while ago. Not like on Amino, but like on the stream. So, I thought it was cool. Yeah, a cool dragon. I want to let you know. Let's see. Matt said Christopher Robin is more of like a sequel piece. So it takes place after the events of the other Winnie the Pooh stuff. By the way, if you guys have not looked up Honey the Bear on YouTube, Honey the Bear is a like animated parody of Winnie the Pooh. I liked it when I was younger. I don't know if it holds up, but I thought it was pretty good. I just noticed that one of Kels's artworks actually has a lot of comments on it. And then I read the comments, and then I realized it's just people saying what back and forth. Okay. Godzilla then said, okay. Ryan then said, more like Mary Poppins Returns in terms of it being a sequel. I haven't seen Mary Poppins or Mary Poppins Returns. I remember when I was younger, they came out with a movie that was like Mary Poppins, but it wasn't exactly Mary Poppins. Like, they didn't have the rights to Mary Poppins, but they did a Mary Poppins type thing. I remember seeing on the DVD for it, like, it's the new Mary Poppins, but I don't actually remember what that movie was called. I'm trying to remember. Oh, Ryan then said Nanny McPhee. Damn, Ryan, did you immediately know? Did you goop me on that? Where's this? Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's he was ready. Let's see. Matt said Christopher Robin is an adult, not a spoiler. It's literally in every trailer. Okay, good to know. I haven't seen Christopher Robin. And then Matt said, and I believe even on the movie poster. Then Ryan said Nanny McPhee, which congratulations, that is correct. Then Godzilla said, "Do I make a post and then my story?" So you try and make like a new blog, and then in that blog you would like paste your story into the blog, and then you'd submit it, and then it would appear on the Amino. Tell me when you do that, by the way, if you want me to read it. That way I'll know that it's there, and then I should check it out. I used to really like The Last Mimsy, and I believe The Last Mimsy on its box is like, it's the new ET. It's like something along those lines. But I guess I kind of miss that. I kind of miss when movies used to come out and they used to just say, it's like this older movie, rather than what they do now, which is they just make a new version of the older movie. I kind of like the idea of people going, I was inspired by this big thing when I was younger, and I want to make like a somewhat similar story, but it's not exactly the same. I kind of dig that. And I feel like nowadays we do that. Like, instead of making a movie that's somewhat inspired by the old Men in Black films, we get Men in Black International. Not saying that those movies are bad in any way. I'm just saying I kind of wouldn't mind it if they just didn't try to ride the coattails directly. I guess I like it better when critics say the movie is like this older movie but new and different, rather than when someone goes, I want to do a new and different take on a thing that already exists, if that makes sense. Let's see. Matt said, Jet, just send every story to me and I can see all the separate entities. And then Godzilla said, done. Story is on Amino on your thing. Okay. I will load back up Amino again. And then Matt wants my story sent to him separately. So what I can do, right, is I can send you one of the stories and then just see what your thoughts are on that one story, Matt. Kevin said, I still haven't seen Christopher Robin and Maleficent. I do have a feeling I would like Christopher Robin since I like Winnie the Pooh movies and the shows growing up. He said, Tigger my D because N-word is racist. Tigger my D sounds gross. I, I like what you tried to do. It just sounds like not what you wanted to say. Ryan then put another spoiler, just random spoiler. And then Kevin said D is dude, aka my favorite character. I see what you meant. That's not what I would have thought. And then Matt said, Jet, why is it so hard to send all the stories? I want to see your opinion on one story at a time. Ryan said, Christopher Robin is such a good movie, in my opinion. Understandable. So Godzilla posted their story to Amino. Let's see. It's not super long, so I should be able to read through a good bit of it. I'll read 250 words of it at most. So I am going to copy and paste and then put it in a word counter and then see if it's 250 words. Goodness, it's really hard to do the copy and paste while it's like a tiny screen. I know what I need to do. I need to do the two screen experience since I can. I just haven't been. So let's see. Kevin said, blame Google for text limits, not me. Well, understandable. Then Matt said, Jet, if you just send all the stories, there won't be a point in sending them all again. And he says, stop with these dumb limits, Jet. 250 words is silly. It's so that if at any point multiple people sent in stories, I'll read like an equivalent amount of everyone's story without taking up a crazy amount of time. Oh, I know what's happening. The TV is set to the PlayStation's HDMI. So I kept like putting in the HDMI and taking it back out because I was like, I need to get it like set up. Let's see. Kevin said, "Oh, Jet limits words." Well, only for like when I read the stories. I'll read them like in parts, and I'll read them in parts equal to like 250 words or so, like stories written by like other people. So I'll still read your story, right? But I'll like read like 250 words one time, and then I'll read 250 words another time, so on and so forth. Your story is only 368 words. I can just probably read that whole thing. I don't think that'd be too crazy. Matt said, nobody does that though. And then Kevin said, or text, I mean. Then Ryan said, another random spoiler. And then Matt said, even if they do, no one would complain. So here is Earthwave's story. I mean, sorry, this is Godzilla's story about Earthwave, which is like a kaiju that Godzilla created yesterday. So, without further ado, I'm going to do a reading of the story. Give me one moment to do the story reading. A long time ago, a creature was born. It was as big as a human, and it went to the nearest village and destroyed it. It got bigger. The monster did more attacks on other villages over the years as it got a bigger reputation. It was named Earthwave, for when it goes underground, a giant wave comes into their town, completely destroying it. Earthwave then started to feed on heat underground, getting stronger and stronger. It wakes up and it seems to be in a world that it should not be in. He was right now a little bigger than a house. He dug underground and caused many things to happen. Earthwave remembers what happens to his kind. People murdered his kind. He awoke on a mountain, and Earthwave was confused. Earthwave went down the mountain and found a village that was bigger than normal, but not much technology. A castle? Earthwave starts destroying the kingdom, and everything started going on fire because of the heat. The legend of the European dragon was born. Earthwave was sleeping under the destroyed kingdom. The heat that he consumed was so powerful that he was as tall as a tall building. Earthwave then awoken and went to the nearest city. Earthwave then dug under it. A earthwave made the city become worse. This monster then came under a building, making the building crumble down. Earthwave then roared in the sky. Helicopters then surrounded him. They did not last long. Tanks came in. Nothing. The city started burning. Earthwave then grabbed pieces of the ground and threw them at all of the military units. Nothing was getting in his way. The military then started to turn it around. Earthwave then smashed the military, but they were still coming. Earthwave was overwhelmed. The city was almost nothing. Only a few buildings were left standing. Earthwave then ate all of the heat that was near. The military saw this and did not care. They shot at the monster. Earthwave then started to die. Helicopters were all over him. All he did now is die. All that heat he used exploded the city. Earthwave's revenge on humanity is over. The city is all gone. I feel like more word variety would have been nice for the Earthwave story, Godzilla. Like, I feel like you use bigger a lot, and you refer to Earthwave by name a lot. Um, some of your sentences are like not sentences. One of them is a castle, period. And that's the whole sentence. It just that's all it said. Even in context, I understand what it means in context, but it's interesting. I feel like I could have read it differently. So the sentence right before that one is Earthwave went down the mountain and found a village that was bigger than normal, but not much technology. A castle? But it's not written with like a question mark or anything. It's just like a cat like the extent of their technology was a castle was there. And I understood what you meant, but I'm like, that's just not really a sentence. Sometimes I notice you'll capitalize words just kind of to do it. One of your sentences is the legend of the European dragon was born, but the word born at the very end is capitalized, and I don't really fully understand why. It just kind of is. Um, it looks like you separated your story into sections, but then the sections are of like an inconsistent length. The last section is the longest one, but the other ones I just feel like are 2 to 3 sentences long. They're not like full paragraphs. Well, I mean, I guess 3 sentences could be like a full paragraph, but normally I'm used to like 4 to 5, I guess. But the last one, you just like stop following that rule. It's just like it's just all together. But the other ones feel so sparse compared to it. I guess I'm just really surprised. Um, it's interesting that when the creature was human size, he murked that village. He had no problem. I don't even know what he did. I don't even know how he destroyed the village. It's just like he got it. He just owned it. Um, Matt said, "Oh God, the 3 paragraph story. Here we go again." Then Sherry Chan said, "I'm back." Then Matt said, "As tall as a tall building." Smashed all of the military. All he did was just die. I do think the line where he said, all he did now is die, is a very interesting line. I didn't understand it. Because the line before it is, they shot at the monster, Earthwave then started to die. Then the next line is, helicopters were all over him. All he did now is die. Just to hammer it home, he is still continuing to die, and that is all that is occurring. He is just simply dying. Godzilla said, "I suck at making stories." I mean, it's just something that you do with like practice, and you just get more into it. Um, so Godzilla wrote a story. My dad's here. Godzilla wrote a story about a kaiju called Earthwave, and it's the kaiju's whole life from like beginning to end. But I feel like the story skips over a lot of parts. It'll just be like the kaiju went in a city, well, that city's gone. It's like stuff like that. And then I feel like if you had more word variety, like you tried to use a variety of different words, you use bigger a lot. I actually have a word counter that I put it in that has like keyword density. Earthwave is said the most, like 15 times, which is understandable. It's the main character, but I do feel like you could have used other words than Earthwave sometimes to refer to it. City is the next most used word, but I didn't mind the use of city. Bigger, you used 4 times, but I think it was so close together each time you used bigger, it just felt like you did it like a ton. At least that's what it feels like to the reader. Um, I liked it, but at the same time, I felt like it could have been better. I feel like you could work on it.
Yeah, I also see a lot of sentences that begin with the word it, just right off the bat.
Um, I mentioned earlier that sometimes he just capitalizes words, just kind of to do it.
That's, yeah, that's not good.
Um,
How old is he?
you don't ask that on the internet. That's just
Oh,
weird.
is that a thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's odd.
What grade is he in?
That's also weird. That's like the same implication. Yeah.
Hey, it could be Doogie Howser.
The doctor?
Yeah.
What a reference. Who would know that reference?
You?
Yes. Let's see. Shuri Chan said, "Oh, I'm bad." Wait, you're bad. You're bad at what does that mean? Like at writing stories? Shuri Chan didn't write the story. I don't know what he's referring to. Matt said, "Jet, are we going off on section length? Please stop giving bad advice." Well, he goes from like short paragraphs to just long, not paragraph. I'm just saying consistency would be nice. And then Matt said, Jet with 368 words, of course they were going to be skipping. Not, I mean, I understand what you mean, Matt, because it is the story, it's the life story of a giant monster. So it has to go from like the beginning of the monster's life to the end in 368 words. But I guess I'm surprised at like how often it's just like, excuse me, he showed up, boom. Like, what is the most destruction that we see where like it's actually described? Really, I think he goes into the most detail for when Earthwave died. And it seems like the way that the story progresses, Earthwave is facing off against like underdeveloped civilizations. So it's like he went to a small village and he wrecked it. He went to like a bigger kingdom, but it's like medieval times, and he like knocked it out. He went to like a modern day urban city, and he was like overwhelmed. It was like, oh snap, there's just tanks and helicopters, and I could deal with them at first, but then I couldn't, and then I died. But I think it would be interesting if I guess it was shown with like timestamps. Like if the story was told in a timeline and it's like the year is done no 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 no. He's like human size, Rex Village, and then it's like the year is done no 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 no. He's much bigger. He's been living underground, Rex Kingdom, and then it's like the year is done no 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 no. Because I know that the story starts a long time ago, but we're not given a sense of how far time has progressed other than just the context that the village didn't have a lot of technology, but the final place did. And we also get to see time progress based off of Earthwave's growth. But because we're talking about a kaiju, it's hard to tell if Earthwave is just growing because he's getting older, or if Earthwave is growing rapidly because he's like a kaiju and he just gets power. You know, like it's harder to tell. Then Godzilla said, I kind of want to delete the story. He said, I did make the story in 20 minutes. And he said, I know the doctor. You know Dookie Howser or whatever his name is? Um, and I don't think you need to delete the story, Godzilla. Like, I feel like your premise isn't bad. I just feel like you could probably flesh it out. I feel like I like it better if you did flesh out, like, the different fights. And we got to see Earthwave tear up the village, like the first village, and see how that went. I don't think I really know of a lot of kaiju stories where a kaiju is human size and they annihilate a village. I kind of would really like to see that described because I think that's an interesting concept. And then for like the kingdom with the castles, a lot of times you don't see kaijus in like medieval times. The closest thing you see to kaijus in medieval times are like giants and like dragons and stuff like that. But like a massive like pangolin that absorbs heat from the earth and like burrows underground and stuff like that. I think that would be really interesting to see in like a medieval kingdom with castles and stuff wrecking things. I just feel like I would have liked a lot of that to have been described. You know what I mean? Matt said, use this as a main point of improvement. Frame the story and look upon it whenever you wish to know your shame so that you have fuel for improvement. Matt, what kind of advice is that? I know what you're trying to say. It just sounds weird. Matt's like, use it for self shaming so that you can improve. You don't have to use it for self shaming. You can just improve the story over time if you like really vibe with it and you want to see it like develop further. As is for a story that you wrote in 20 minutes, um, it's not like super bad. It has a beginning, middle, and end. I just feel like the parts that I thought were going to be more fleshed out were parts that were skimmed over. And that the parts that were fleshed out were just kind of the end. And even then, the end is like the monster then came under a building, making the building crumble down. Like, that's good imagery. Earthwave then roared into the sky. But then we never really get a description of what Earthwave really looked like. You know, we know it's a pangolin because you've told us it's a pangolin, but you don't tell us that in the story. So the reader's like, what does that look like? We know that it can burrow underground. We know that it's now as big as a tall building. We know originally it was human size. But the reader doesn't really have an image for what Earthwave looks like. So I think that would be helpful. I only say that because you have so many moments that are just like visual, and I guess I appreciate that you don't describe Earthwave in a way, because then I can just kind of imagine it however I want. But I feel like you aren't doing it for the imagine it however you want. I feel like you know what you want Earthwave to look like. You're just not describing it in a story. You know what I mean? Uh, Tassfulia, I'm gonna call you Tass, said, "You're in the Matrix now." He said, "I've come to warn you that you're in the Matrix now. I have been sent to warn you that you need to break free from this matrix and that false memories have been downloaded into you to create a fake life story." Yo, Tass, welcome to the stream. It's good to have you. How's your day today? Do you have any questions for your boy? Do you have any discussion topics you'd like to talk about on the stream? Godzilla said, "Nice. I mean, Doctor Who." And then he said, "That's nice." Then Matt said, "I have no life, so joke's on you." Oh, talking to Tass. Then Godzilla said, "Good idea." He said, "I think that this first part is the first draft." Agreed. I also think of this as like this is a first draft for a story of something that you want to build upon over time. So I definitely understand that this is like a first draft kind of thing. Um, and this is me commenting on it as a first draft kind of thing. Then Ryan said there is a new Watt support card talking about Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Yu-Gi-Oh archetype. I've never really played with Watts personally. I really like the Hunder family. Oh, so Matt, we got about 4 minutes left. I'm going to send you Ultra Ghost versus Dynamo Dragon via email, Matt, and I want to see what your thoughts are on the story. This particular story, I don't think Eric read this one. I think um, Eric Eric definitely read the Crystal one, like Crystal Crusader versus Magma Maniac, and I know that Eric read Mush Racer versus Violaser, and Eric also read Electric Kid versus Astra Mortem. But he didn't read Denorm versus Elasteel or Ultra Ghost versus Dynamo Dragon. So that's what I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna send you Ultra Ghost versus Dynamo Dragon. I want to hear your opinion on it. A matter of fact, thinking about it, I'm not sure if Beth might be the only person who's read Ultra Ghost versus Dynamo Dragon. Because I'm not sure if Aiden has. Aiden might have. But I don't think he did. Because I don't have any memories of his commentary on it. Let's see. Matt said, Jet, I'm not going to be able to read a story in 4 minutes. He said, again, just send it all to me. I don't expect you to read it in 4 minutes. Let's see. A, and then I'm going to send it to A. There we go. I actually have no idea how long that particular story is. It seems like you might be able to read it in 3 minutes. They're short stories, so I mean that actually is very convenient for this current situation. So there you go. It's been shot to your UAH email. Let's see. Godzilla said, I think the part when it says as tall as a tall building is dumb. I do think you could have used something better than as tall as a tall building. I feel like instead of saying it's as tall as a tall building, you could have said that it like cast a massive shadow over the city, because we get a sense of scale from the fact that it's able to do so. You know what I mean? If you're like, it cast a foreboding shadow on the streets below, it tells us that it is much taller than like just like a car or like anything else. If it's making such a huge shadow onto the street without necessarily having to refer to the height directly, you get the image that is in a very tall and imposing force. Matt said, that sounds disgusting. But yeah, Matt, I definitely would like to hear more about your thoughts on Ultra Ghost versus Dynamo Dragon. If you want, feel free to comment on it on the Amino or like in the comment section below this video and we can discuss it, or via email or text me. But the stream itself is about to end. I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you like this video, make sure to smash that like button. This is the first video of July. I hope you guys are hyped for the new month. But I hope you all are having a wonderful time today. Thank you all for tuning in. This is your host, your friend, your boy, Jeb like the one and only, logging out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ding ding ding, ring that notification bell. And peace. See you guys soon. See you guys tomorrow. Well, actually, tomorrow, I'm not going to actually do a vlog tomorrow. I'm going to be on a date with Beth, and we're gonna have lunch with Dozer. So I'm gonna have a vlog. And then Matt said, "Better not leave. We gotta finish this." Matt, you can message me via email or text or Amino or even in the comments section below. But right now, your boy has just gotta go. I don't know how long the live chat stays up, but if you message in the live chat, I might be able to actually still like message with you. And Matt said, "No, this is a stream discussion. We can also talk about it on another stream, but I gotta go." Peace. Because we're gonna talk about it for a good bit, I imagine. We could probably talk about it for like a good, like 10 to 20 minutes, depending on how much you want to say. And then Matt said, "You have an hour." I gotta talk with Beth. Talk to you guys later. Peace.